tired of feeling tired? Done with diet culture? Overwhelmed by conflicting nutrition and fitness messages? Then join us, your hosts of the Nutrition Revolution podcast, as we take a deep dive into all things women's fitness and nutrition. I'm Kimberly.
And I'm Tabitha. And together we are debunking diet culture myths and giving you the tools you need to finally see the results you're looking for. It's time to revolutionize your nutrition and training.
Welcome back to another episode. We have a special guest today, Dr. Megan Epps. She is chiropractor at Delaware Healthcare Center, which
Welcome,
my kids...
Dr. Epps.
Thank you guys for
the one and
having
only.
me.
My kiddos love you guys over there.
Yeah, they're
It's been
fantastic.
amazing. And then more recently, you've been podcasting. Well, you had a podcast.
Yeah, so the 302 podcast.
Yes, the 302 podcast.
Wait, is 302 podcast no longer?
No, it's on a hiatus right
It's on
now.
hiatus,
Yeah,
little
so
break,
we've done it
okay.
for a long time.
You have.
But then we, just different life changes. And then I think my husband's like, do we want to still do this? So he's not sure. And then I'm doing his other podcast. So it's like on pause for now.
Don't
So
you
I
love
love
that you can
your-
just do that?
Yeah,
in
well, that's why we
life?
did seasons too.
It is the best.
It is
So
the
we
best.
have to take a break and like
Yeah, we take
reorganize
our,
things.
we take our summer break.
Take our summer break.
You
It's
have
best
to.
thing
Like,
ever.
people don't realize with podcasting how much, like, if you put out podcasts every week, it is like almost a full-time job if you add an editing.
For sure.
Yeah.
It is. So you've been running, and I've been listening to At the Table,
Yes.
an Innate Women podcast with your bestie,
My
Dr.
bestie,
Skylar.
Dr. Skylar.
I think I met her once. If she filled in for you.
Yeah, she covers. She's actually covering when we go on our next vacation at the end of May. So you guys can meet her again.
Yeah. So you've been busy, and I've been enjoying these podcasts talking about, like, just hearing, I don't know, I think because I knew you, I met you through like a networking and just like hearing your story and what you've been doing. And then I knew you obviously with my kids going to the chiropractor. So to hear this like different side of you that's more mental, emotional, like talking about like whole body wellness versus just like, I mean, I think I saw you mostly for Jackson, for my son, who was very not in control of his body. And now he is, thanks to you guys. And so it's been interesting listening to this side of you. So I've been enjoying that. What kind of made you shift from like the chiropractic side, that side, to doing more of this kind of podcasting?
That's such a great question. Well, first, thank you. And I love like treating your children. So it's always like a joy of mine. So I do specialize within chiropractic for brain-based chiropractic, which is when you talk about like helping with body control. I know people are like, what do you mean? What does it do? So really focusing on the nervous system, the communication to the brain, because the environment is what feeds the brain and the nervous system is the communication tool. And so we clear that interference and allow for better function. And so kids that have things like ADHD, movement or development delays, we really help them sort of reconnect with their body and their environment and function better. And so I grew up in chiropractic. By the way, this is like so weird to be like on this end of it because I'm so used to being like I'm in charge of interviewing. Now I'm on this side of it.
You are in charge.
You can still be in charge. We'll let you.
And I'm very comfortable in that position. So I grew up in chiropractic. I've always known it, and then I went into it and specialized and have really like developed our practice. And it looks very different than if you went ever and saw my dad. That was a very different practice than it is today. So it's really developed into my husband's and mine and what our interests are. But with that, one of the things that I found is behind the scenes with business is that there's a big gap for women in business. And the problem with it is if you really dive into business and you get to a certain level of success where I was like, okay, well, I'm doing really well. Who do you talk to about this? Like, how do you find other successful women to connect with? And if you go into the personal growth world, even if you look up like personal growth podcast or business podcast, majority are going to be men talking about men things. From an angle that just, I like love it. And like, I still listen to a lot of them, but then I go, okay, this isn't applicable for myself, even as someone who's like childless, let alone someone who actually has kids. Yeah. And I realized like, there's a huge disconnect for like serving women in business and women who are leaders and wanting more out of life. And so we've developed this new program for Innate Women where we're doing retreats, events, workshops, and then of course the podcast and different ways to connect.
Yeah.
Love that.
Awesome. I really feel like there is a gap because, you know, I listen to a lot of podcasts too, and it's like they don't understand the like emotional side of women. Even like you said, without children, there's still something innate in women that like we have this nurturing, we're taking care of others that they don't necessarily hit or cover. So sometimes I'll listen to that and I'm like, that sounds great if you didn't also have to run your business, clean your house, organize laundry, organize like all of the other
dinner,
things,
meal plan, drive kids to activities.
Well, that's something that comes up time and time again is like when you look at women, well, there's two things. One, women are natural leaders. When you look at the definition of what leadership is, it is developing other people to become their best. That is leadership. People always look at it like I've done
That is motherhood.
It is motherhood, exactly. So women are innately, in my opinion, women are innately set up to be leaders. And yet when I've done leadership courses, I've done some through Delaware, I've done them, outside of other areas, they always look to like the military as like, this is what leadership is. We're going to pull people up. We're going to push them forward, which there is some stuff to that. Like, some people get results, but if you really look at the research when it comes to leadership, it has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with connecting with people, helping them see their value, and helping them reach their highest potential. That is what leadership is. Leaders breed other leaders.
Absolutely.
And the absolute number one group of people who can do that, who I see thriving at that, are women. And yet, there's a huge gap that we see because women in society still have this entire amount of extra work that we all pretend that we're doing it all. And I know this was a whole talk since the 80s, right? Like people have always been talking about like feminism or what it means to like have a balanced life or like carry the load as women. And now we're all equal. But like equality isn't real right now with women. It's like a facade.
Yeah. Balance isn't real either.
It's not. I don't believe in that either. But the thing is with when we look at like women who are building something versus like a man who's building something. And I can use like real life examples of people I know. Like I know this one person owns like multiple clinics, does an amazing job. Like if you look at every time people meet him, they're like, wow, I'm in all. How do you do it all? And you ask him, he's like, well, I have a great routine. I have a morning routine. I'm up by 4:00. I'm at the gym by 5:00. I have my breakfast by this time. I'm at my clinics. I have my meetings scheduled out. At night, I go to my kid's baseball game, and then by 7, I'm in bed, and I start all over. And you're like, wow, so who's taking care of your kids?
Like, and who's making the meals, and who's cleaning the house, and who's doing your laundry,
shopping for you,
and then who's putting the kids to bed? Because if you're going to bed at 7, bro,
well, you got to 4 a.m. wake up, right?
Yeah. Like, I mean, no, he has to go to bed at 7. But me, as the one who has been in a relationship where I have been the primary caregiver and the one keeping the home fires burning, like I'm immediately like, wait a second, how many kids does he have? And somebody's going to a baseball game. No baseball, like very few baseball games are getting over by 7. So like. He must be driving separate, going home, putting himself straight to bed, and that means his wife is putting however many children,
second dinner,
to bed by herself, cleaning up, like.
And so like they do have good means because they're very successful. Yeah,
right.
But I always say like one of my favorite things is like if I like as I like was going through this business world and chiropractic and building my business, I'd meet all these people who are in leadership or coaching positions. I'd be like, I'm going to come visit your practice. I'd ask them questions about their life, and this pattern happened time and time again. They're like they would talk about their success. It's about the habits. And even if you read, like there's these big books out about habits right now, they're great. They're not applicable for women. Right. Like all the tips are amazing. They work. They're backed by science, but the science based on men.
Yes.
And so none of it is based on women. And I was like, okay, like this doesn't work.
This is like fitness and nutrition space too.
Yeah.
The pink it and shrink
matches. No, listen, it matches so much in leadership and personal growth. And like I've always been obsessed with it because I was like, okay, as I grow, your business reflects you. I want to have a good business. I want to serve my community well. So it's like in a small business, you guys are also small business owners. You probably feel the exact same way. And then you guys also have kids. And then it's like, okay, well now after I'm done with this business or getting an education, I come home and you have to care for your kids. You have to make sure they're going to their sports. They're taken care of. So you become second. And even your husband often, not like you guys, but like in a lot of families, the husband is grouped in with the kids. So the husband's taken care of. The kids are taken care of. And we want to pretend that's not happening, but it is.
It's happening.
It's happening. And it's limiting women in business and life. And they're ignoring themselves and they're not having adventurous lives anymore. They're not having, you get married in this hope. And then I feel like people end up in this position where they're like, oh, I'm not unhappy, but I'm also knowing there's more in life.
Well, you're not thriving.
You're
just
thriving.
getting through.
And I think women need to, like, we also have to connect more. Like, we have to be in a group. We need to, we all rise together. And so, like, when you're isolated, when you're, you know, feeling alone, and I was having those feelings. And, like, also when it comes to, like, the work of women, it's not just, like, with kids. It's also as you're, like, we're at an age where, like, parents, like, my mom just turned 70. What happens when she turns 80? Who is caring for her? Is it my brother? Is it me?
Yeah.
We mostly know the answer.
Yeah. You can see it. It's going to be your brother for sure.
Yeah, of course.
No doubt.
He loves my mom.
Of course he does.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, even if you don't have kids, the responsibility of caring, and then you have to add in, what about your in-laws? Who's caring for them? Let's say you only have
a really nice nursing home.
Maybe. Maybe, but in our household, it's going to be like, I will be the person to make decisions for, like, both.
You're just going to move them all on the farm and put them in their spots.
My in-laws only had sons.
Oh,
Yeah.
Same. Oh,
Yeah.
how funny is that?
Same.
Yeah.
It's like,
Luckily, I like them.
which daughter?
Yeah.
I know I like mine too, but I don't like them enough to have them go live with me.
Well, I just think we have to have proper boundaries.
We have to
I
have
don't think men
boundaries.
have good boundaries with their moms.
But I also think that,
As a boy mom, I can say that's probably accurate.
I'm not in a bad way. It's
No,
just,
not in a bad
it's
way.
different
It's just
relationships.
different.
So, like, we gotta have good boundaries.
It's just
So,
different.
You know, a
It is
mother-in-law
different.
suite would be the best case
Yes.
scenario.
For sure.
Yes, with hired help.
That you can like lock them in. The locks on
I'm a little worried for your mother-in-law. Maybe you're not gonna get her.
if you're Tabitha's mother-in-law listening to this, please send us an
blink
email.
twice if you are not feeling safe.
I come here once a
We're
month
gonna
to
have
check
to
on
check.
you.
You know, once I
Jokes,
get to
guys.
this point, we're gonna be checking on her. We're like, so how's your mother-in-law Tabitha?
But I don't think boys'
You hear
brains
banging,
think about
just ignore it.
Yeah.
Yes, over here.
I don't think boys' brains think about the long term, right? Like they're not thinking about like all of those like their brain is like, today, this is what I need to do. And so like scheduling doctor's appointments, like, you know, they're like, oh, I probably should go see someone.
I think
for
they
this
think
nagging
long
thing.
term in like financial planning reasons, right? 'Cause my husband's always thinking about our future financially, whereas I'm always thinking about our future from a nurture based
Exactly.
perspective.
Yeah.
And like, what are the kids? What are our needs going to be?
Yeah, because they have
5
that
years,
innate
10
like
years,
I'm a provider
Yeah.
personality. Like we need to make sure we have that covered. But you know, women are like, are you healthy today? Like, are we doing these things today and making sure that like that, you know, for month to month, are we surviving?
Well, even like the daily scheduling meals, if you're in charge of them, like that takes up a lot of brain space.
It also never ends.
It never
Because
ends.
Even when it's the weekend, I still get, hey, what's the plan for dinner? What's the plan for lunch? Like it's a 24/7 thing. Like even when we go on vacation, there's still the routines and everybody still has to eat. And like, you know, nobody fully prepares you that like growing up, becoming an adult is mostly just laundry and meals till you die.
Yeah. And
Forever and ever.
there's like real decision fatigue that comes from that.
There is,
and
yeah.
then now you have to, let's say you're somebody who does have a business or you're in a leadership position and now you have to make all those decisions too. That's a lot for somebody. And so with Innate Women, a lot of it is about creating the network and community for women to either we have like a lot of free events you can just show up for. And then we also have, when you're looking to deep dive into more specific topics, we'll be having workshops this summer. And then we also have right now an adventure retreat, because sometimes when you get away from life, you can have bigger clarity on different topics in your life and what you're working towards. And I think that stepping away, women, I don't see doing it as often, but it can be one of the best things to actually propel your life closer to what your goals are.
I think the retreats are amazing because it gets women out of their environment as much as they don't want to, right? Like we're like, well, we can't leave because then everything's going to fall apart. But once they
like the hardest
do
thing.
get out, it's like, oh. And I think that what I've noticed with when I was doing retreats and stuff too, when they do get out and they're in like a different environment with people that they don't know, which is always so fun, they kind of find themselves again. And you'll see like at the beginning, they're just kind of like reserved. They talk about their kids a lot. They talk about like everything is surrounded about their family and
who
this
they
life
care
and
for.
who they care for. But towards the end, they start dreaming and they start like finding themselves again, just in time for the week to end. But they start like at least getting this little bit of a seed of like, oh, I am still a person. I am still myself. I just need to put this on my calendar more and make time for these things more often. So I think that's such a great opportunity that you guys are providing for women to have that.
I'm really excited for it, actually, because we're doing, one of the things is my husband got to do an adventure retreat. It sort of stems from this because I was like very jealous. And it was like all guys, and they went to this super hard. They did rim to rim, like 42 miles to the Grand Canyon. And I was like,
that's cool.
I want to do that.
I want to do that
But I don't
too.
want to do it with boys.
No, I don't want to do it with boys.
But I was like, how many women want this? And then if we add in like a day of personal growth, and then we add in a day where we are like in the canyon together, and then a day of reflection. So that's our first retreat. That is going to be an adventure retreat.
And when is this retreat?
So initially it was going to be in October, but with a scheduling for my partner in this, we moved it to 2027 May.
Oh,
yeah, I know you guys could come.
I didn't know
so
it was
fun.
moved.
It
Really
just got
wish that I
moved.
could. Yeah,
So
I
it'll be
would
next
love to.
May of 2027. I'll send you guys links for all of it.
Yeah, send me links.
It's only a small amount of women, so it's going to be under 12 people that are going, and it's a full day of immersion of really showing up, great food, because that's very important, is the whole experience, in the Grand Canyon, and then we're going rim to rim with the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Yeah, so I have a whole training plan and, of course, different sessions leading up to it, but this is, there's so many women who are wanting more and are looking for this adventure, but it's like a lot of the opportunities that I see are, and maybe it just might be who I'm exposed to, but it's for men or my husband. I'm like, go do it, babe, and I'm like, I want to do it.
Yeah.
I just want to do it in a different environment. And I didn't see that. And I was like, I guess I'm going to create it.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love your go get 'em attitude in nature.
Thank you.
It's so inspiring. I admire that about you.
Oh, thank you so much. That's very kind.
It's great.
Because how many times are we like, oh, I wish they had that for us, and then we just wait for something to open up.
Yeah, you're always
so
waiting
you're
for
like, I'm gonna
someone
go
else.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go make
I'm
it
just
happen.
tired of waiting for it and him
Yeah.
having cool experiences.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, it's me and the dog at home. We're just hanging
I want
out.
to have some cool experiences too. Yeah.
I think it's really important to have an adventurous life. And it doesn't have to be like a giant adventure of going to the Grand Canyon, but, women give up their dreams, or they actually don't give it up. What we do often is we pause our dreams until a certain side of life. And like both of you are actually really fascinating stories, because you guys did what people don't always do, and you went back to school.
It's hard though.
It is. Actually, I was
It's a
back to school at 30, so we all three
story,
did.
but it's not been easy, and it has come at a cost. At least I have felt it come at a cost, and there has definitely. And so we're gonna like divert, I think, for a moment from like talking about the retreat, because I've been thinking, as you've been talking about the discrepancies between like men when they're super successful, and it's like, oh, how do you do it? And they lay out their schedule, and it's like their schedule, get up, I'm at the gym, I eat my breakfast, I go and I do all my work and my meetings, and then I come home, I hit a kid's game, dinner, bed, right? And it's like, well, who's doing all the background work? It's somebody else. And I always see there's like this meme going around on Instagram that's like a woman saying, I would be so successful and productive if I had a woman at home. Taking care,
I say that all the time. I've had a wife.
And so
It'd be a whole different game.
if I had a wife at home, I would be so, productive and successful. My husband and I had this conversation. My husband's one of the good ones. Like, he gets it, and he's super supportive of me. And we had this conversation for the first time, like years and years ago, where he was like, genuinely, like truly, he was like, I feel so heartbroken for you, for women. He said, because you are expected to be nurturers and to have children, but also get your education and have a career. And it's so hard to do both. But then there's guilt if you choose one over the other. And then you're also still a person that has hopes and dreams. And this was right around the time our oldest, Ellie, she's a girl, she's 16 now. And so he was like seeing like, he's like, I want my daughter to get an education, to like have a career, but I also want to see her like have a family. He's like, because how much joy my family brings me and my marriage brings me, and like, all these things that like fill your cup. And he's like, but it's like, you can't do it all,
right?
But you like want to have it all, but it's hard because you can't do everything 100%. Like, something will suffer. And I have felt this in my own life. I made the choice to get married and to have children, and I very much wanted children, right? And my children are my life, but also not my life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
There's nothing I wouldn't do for them. They fill my cup. They bring me immense joy. I don't want to miss a single baseball game or soccer game. But then on the flip side of that, it's like I have had to sacrifice some of those dreams of like the career that I really would want, or where I could be in my career right now, right? To be able to be home with them and to raise them, because somebody needs to be.
Yeah.
I do believe that somebody, there needs to be nurturing and caregiving, but then we also have bills. So is it feasible and realistic for both mother and father to be 50% caregiver, 50% provider? Like, how do you balance that and work that? It's difficult. I'm like genuinely saying, like,
it's hard
for us. My husband's earning potential with him being older than me and being ahead in his career was far greater.
There, didn't you? Huh? He's older than you. You gotta throw that in there. Just so he listens. So he's like, she's always telling me I'm older than her.
I mean, it's true though. But he was already established in his career when I was like just graduating college and we were dating and, then getting married. Yeah. So like his earning potential and everything was surpassed mine. Sense. And yes, like it just made sense. And then like, I was like, I had the babies. I wanted to stay home with them. And then I was like, oh, actually, I kind of hate this. Yeah. Like, and then there's that guilt where you're like, I'm supposed to love this, but actually I don't. Yeah. And
I was the opposite. I was like, I don't want to have children. I want to work. Like, I just want to be a teacher with inner city public schools. Like, that was that was what I was going to do with my life. And then I met him and he was like, he didn't even like kids when I met him. So I didn't even know he wanted children.
I never would have guessed this about you two.
Really? Never, because you guys were like,
you guys are such good parents.
Such a beautiful family.
Like, So one day we had friends who had like a bunch of kids, and it was like really his first exposure to like hanging out with a family that had kids, and we were with them like all the time. And then he fell in love with their boys. And then one day he was just like, I'm ready. And I was like, ooh, like for a vacation, or like, you want to go like to Nashville? Like, cause we would just pick up and take off and go do stuff. And he was like, no, like I'm ready to have kids. And I was like, oh, I didn't think we were going to do that. Like, I didn't know we were going to have children. You don't like children. And so I knew, if we had kids, I'm in charge. And, so then we ended up getting pregnant, and I was like, I'm putting him in daycare and I'm going to go back to work. And then I had him, and it was coming closer to like having to go back to teaching. And I was like, I'm not going back. And he was like, yeah, don't, it's fine. And I was like, oh, all right. So then I stayed home with him, but then I got bored, and I was like, I don't know what to do with my life. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back to work? And I was like, well, I don't want to leave him, but I also don't want to just sit here. And so then I started doing like the coaching with nutrition and stuff.
Found a new passion, hobby, very similar.
That, like, I could do both, right? I could stay home, I could be with him, but I could also like get connected with other people and have adult like,
interaction, find purpose outside of just motherhood, because you are a person as well as a mother.
Yeah. And he very much supported that, because then I was like, well, I want to go work at this gym 1 or 2 days a week. And he was like, yeah, like make it happen. So I had to get up and work the early morning shift so I could be home for him to get ready and go to work. So it was like this great balance. And he's one of the good ones too. I feel like we all married really good ones.
We did. I know.
Well, what do you want to do? It would never have lasted with not a good one, right? Like, I wouldn't have made it through the first date.
No, for real.
We're too dumb.
They're not sticking around.
They weren't ready for this.
No. I was like, Frank didn't know what he got into. Yeah. He's like, you were so sweet. I was like, all right.
But he's just always been like, we have like family meetings where I'll say like, okay, how is this working for us? Like, can you take this load off my plate for now? Or like, I know like he's got a busier whatever. And so I'll carry that load, but it's such a very good, like whatever, like balance for us. But I'm watching other people who don't have that and who are feeling like they can't find themselves anymore, and they are stuck at home because this is what they signed up for, and they're afraid or just don't even think they can go out and say like, hey, I actually don't like this. I changed my mind. And so they don't feel supported at home. Mm-hmm. But I think that's why having a group of women or having, mentors or people around you who can speak life into you, or that you can just see like, oh, well, I could make that work. I could do that. And I don't just have to be, like, you don't just have to be one thing.
Yeah, I think that brings up so many good points. Like, one, we need to be having these conversations because, like, how many other people are feeling exactly what you're feeling, but, like, how many times do you hear people publicly talk about it? Like, if someone says, I have mom guilt, like, people don't discuss that you could be like, once you have a child, I think the expectations are you should be fulfilled now. And it's an unspoken expectation.
It's so not true.
And it's not true, but like there is this shame. I think it's unspoken, but it is out there that if you were to say, I love my child, but I want more, that you're being a selfish person.
Yeah. Or that, and like,
how dare you?
Being strong and active in a faith tradition, a Christian-based faith faith tradition, there is this Christian culture that like it is your highest and holiest calling
And your only
motherhood.
calling.
And
That's what you were made for.
Exactly. And that anything else is secondary to that, and almost I'm going to use the word shameful. I don't know if that's the right word, but like shameful if you aspire to more, or not the right priority. That's like something is innately wrong with you, or
you're making bad decisions.
Yes. And that, for me, being someone who will be the first one to say that the infant and toddler years sucked the life out of me in not a good, like, I didn't love it. I did not love it.
Yeah.
I love my teenagers though.
Yeah.
Like teenagers are my jam. Let's go. Love it.
Yeah.
I'm going to really miss
But motherhood
this
is
season.
hard.
But it was so hard for me, and it didn't fill my cup the way that like I thought it would. But I still love my children, right?
Yeah.
But I struggled with that mom
So then you
guilt.
almost feel like you're faking it.
Yeah, I felt, and then I felt like I was a failure because I'm over here like, my
What am I
gosh, I
missing?
can't wait till I can like go do something that's like for me, that I can pour my passion and interests and into, you know, but then also like I made these humans, so I am responsible for them, right? Because like I made the choice to bring them into this world, but then I've got this like Christian culture that's telling me like, no, this should be it for me.
Yeah.
But then my husband gets to go and pursue a career and interest. Like, no, that's not resonating with me.
Have you ever seen like some people who have decided not to have kids will be like, I would definitely have kids if I could be the husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I could be dad, I would have
That's
8
like a better role
kids.
there. And,
8 kids.
But it's like there's these complexities with motherhood and with being a woman of you can love your kids and still want more. You can love
Absolutely.
your life that you currently have and still want more.
Yeah.
And the question though is how do we get more and what that means? Because when it comes down to it's like when we define like our husbands and they're pursuing their dreams, well, the business world and the world of ambition that we grew up with is designed for men.
Yes.
And their biology. And it's like women who are successful, if you dive deep with them, they're actually doing things very different. They're not following this, I have to get up and grind. And then, you know, that's what leads to burnout and crashing. And like, I'm all for working hard. I think we can get a lot done if we work really hard. But what happens if we do it with better intention and better purpose?
Like work smarter, not harder.
Yeah,
You don't have
and
to
then
kill
also,
yourself.
Like defining, like it's okay to like this acceptance of I'm allowed to have this passion over here for nutrition for both of you, as well as pour into my family. Like that, defining what that looks like and actually making your own path is actually very revolutionary and very much rebellious against society, is to say I am going to have a career and not a man's career with being a mom, because that's when you're like we can't do it all and have
Can't do it all.
No,
Yeah.
we cannot be the man in the workforce as well as the mom at home. Like that doesn't really work, because that's what's going to lead to burnout and also like this frustration where you don't feel present with your family, with your friends, and with your loved ones. And you also aren't pursuing your passions. But like the question I want to ask, and what we're asking with our meetups with Innate Women is, well, what does it look like? Like, how do you individually define what success looks like? And if you start defining it yourself, it looks very different, hitting different markers, what your ambition looks like. It changes when you stop comparing it to what a male ambition is and you start defining what your own life would look like and what you're working towards. And so you sort of lose all the shame and the guilt because you're self-defining. But it's very hard to do that isolated. When you see other people doing it, then you're like, oh, they're doing it that way? I can do that too. Yeah. And you become a little bit more inspired and more connected. And I feel like more able when you have a tribe together to actually achieve both things. Yeah. It's just not going to look like what the world's telling us it looks like.
So basically you've created a life coach mentoring program, essentially. And I'm here for it. I love it.
It's similar. I wouldn't call it life coaching by any means.
I feel like it is though.
Please edit that out.
So initially it was when we first started, because it's really evolved over time, is what we're putting out there. So initially it was like, we're going to help successful women that are in small businesses reach certain things. But then you can't do that without addressing all these other things. Yeah. And so we actually do have, like, we have the website, innatewomen.com. We've defined different aspects of life that you have to pour into. And if we pour into too much, you do get burnout. So if you do pour into too much of your work, and I also think like motherhood, if you pour only into that and nothing else, you actually are not as good of a mom if you don't have your own interest and things that you are pursuing. It doesn't always have to be like a monetary pursuit.
So even if it's like knitting. Like if you love to like knit,
like,
well, one of your podcasts you talked about
puzzles.
Creating.
Yes.
I love that episode
because
you talked about like
creative. That's one of the
we aren't creating every day, and I'm big on that. I mean, I also homeschool my kids, so like we color a lot, we draw a lot, but I found that when I would just like put all my stuff away and just spend that time with my kids, like drawing or having paint nights or whatever, like I didn't think to check my phone. I wasn't thinking about everything else. I was like actually just in my little moment with my sketch pad or whatever. And I was like, oh, I should do this more. And then you had that episode on it. And I was like, yes, like that. I resonate with that because I felt that.
Yeah, I truly believe we're naturally creative people as a whole. This is just like women. This is like as a whole. And like
human beings.
And we have like squash creativity or it's only for monetary gain. If you can't make money off your art, you shouldn't do it.
Yes.
And it's like, be bad at things. Be absolutely horrible if it brings you joy. It's not, the joy doesn't come from being good. It comes from the act of doing.
Right.
And so it's all kinds of different hobbies and it doesn't always have to be like, I always do like painting as an example, but it doesn't have to be that. Gardening can be a creative act. Cooking is such a good one.
I mean,
so we need to have these pursuits and sometimes they can be monetary and could become a business and help us earn money and like fulfill, like I know like even building out a business is a very creative act. But like if we don't have this creativity, oh my gosh, I think people get so burnt out because they're like, I'm doing all this stuff, but like where's the fulfillment come into? And it's like, we have to create, we have to pour into ourselves in different ways. So like part of it is looking at like the creativity, leadership, the family life, relationships that aren't, because I think a lot of women also lose their friendships, or they have like an inner circle and then we have like acquaintances, but we have like nobody in between. And like if you go back even just a couple generations, there's like these different layers out. If you're the center, you can like look, there's different layers of relationships. We've lost that in society. And health is a big one we need to pour into because without that, especially like as aging, like once you like get to that point where you don't have health, there's
It is
very
the
little you
greatest
can
wealth.
do. It really
Health,
is.
yeah.
So huge fan. I know we all are in agreement with that. And so like I looked at all these different things that women need to pour into, but it's like we're not saying like balance, like we have to be giving to all every day, but it's like how do we structure our life that we can have pieces of each of these? And so that's what each of our workshops picks like 2 or 3 of them and like focuses on that, and some of it's wealth as well. So it's like bringing in different people who are experts to discuss these things so we can become more empowered in a community and create that network of women who are like-minded, who also want more out of life. So it's exciting. It's not life coaching, but I do problem solving coaching. So if you're like, I'm stuck, I'm really great at systems procedures. So you're like, I'm stuck, or I have questions about this, I need to like work through this, or I'm creating something, I need help with it. You can hire me for about 3 months. And then after that, we can talk if there's more, but I don't believe in like ongoing, like I'm not a therapist.
You want to help them.
I love reaching results.
Step through and be on their own.
Yeah. So it's like you come, you say, hey, this is where I'm stuck, or this is where my issue is, or here's what I want to create, but I don't really know those steps. We would build that out together.
That's cool.
And it could be, it doesn't have to be business related. It could be really life in general.
Yeah, I love that.
I think people realize the creating thing. I think that's why the sourdough thing took off so fast.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I really do. Because people were like, this is my little space. I have to take care of this. No one else can help me. And it's like something I can do hands-on and then share it. Like, I think that's...
And it produces something tangible. I can see it, smell it, touch it, and then it also feeds me. Like, there's such a great reward
you're doing
at the end
something
of it.
that you can see the end result for. Where, like, parenting, you're like, I don't know how you're going to turn out. Right? Like, I'm doing everything I can. You're still going to need therapy for that.
End results for a while.
A long time.
Yeah. Like, I like 25.
My partners are still like, we don't know how y'all are going to turn out. We're still waiting.
Yeah, it's always evolving, right? Different phases of life.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think that it's so fun that, you know, you have seen a need, experienced need for yourself, and that you were able to turn that into something that like is tangible, that people could actually reach out and grow with. Because I think that's the missing component, right? Like we think about it, we plan for it, we like, you know, put these ideas in our brain, and then it just like diminishes where like there's no actual action steps. So like taking those action steps is really important.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Right? Like we all have, like everybody who's listening has like an idea or something that has just sat in their soul for a long period of time. They probably thought, I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to try this. and it could be as simple as like, I've always wanted to do a pottery class, but I didn't have anyone to go with. So I've never gone. Or like, I do have something I want to create and I just haven't done it because what if it doesn't work out? But it's like, okay, what if it doesn't work out?
Yeah.
Who cares? You know, like it doesn't matter. The thing is, if you're taking big actionable steps in your life to something you desire, you're going to get a result that even if it's not what you're envisioning, it's going to still be good. It's going to benefit your life. It's going to benefit your other relationships, because when you start pouring into yourself, it overflows into all the people around you. So it really is about like uplifting everybody. Cause like we said, you're a better parent, a better, sibling, a better sister. Like I don't know why I said sibling and sister together.
We know what you meant.
Yeah.
Just an all around better person.
You're just a better person, and you have better relationships, and you also are a better leader when you are taking that time to pour into
when
you
you're
as well.
a little fulfilled.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. Well, and I think that this can be scary for some people because it goes against societal expectation that it's selfish to do that for as a woman, as a mother, right?
Yeah.
That like you're supposed to self-sacrifice.
Why do people who won't
always.
even go to the gym because they're like, well, I have to leave the kids?
It's wild, right?
Like,
but that's
people
such an
feel so much
antiquated.
better.
I think that's such an antiquated ideology that. Okay, so this may be a little extreme, but I think it is something that was put out there to kind of keep us stuck.
Small.
Women specifically.
Yeah.
At home. Like, no. If you want more, if you're going to try to do more, like, that's so selfish.
Just have
of
another
you.
baby.
Like, but no, like we
Yeah.
are people too. You have hopes and dreams and passions and thoughts and ideas and a brain.
Yeah.
Like you are a whole person, a daughter of God. Your worth is innate. Your value is there. Like you have purpose beyond just being the vessel that brings souls into this world. Right. And I mean, and that is a very noble pursuit and absolutely important. And if you decide to go that route, it does deserve your everything. But you also have a right, a God-given right, in my opinion, for those of our listeners that are faith-based, as well, just as like basic human need to fill your cup, find out who you are, pour into your passion so you can pour into your home, into your community, to make the world a better place.
But when you talk about like these, what I'm hearing is like limiting beliefs of people being like, I've heard I can't do this, I can't do that. I've heard this once before, and I like have loved it. So I've been using it for years, and it's like the mother, father, preacher, teacher. At really young formative ages, people who are authority figures. It could be a parent, it could be a teacher, a priest, like all these people that are considered authority figures who just know life, right? We're supposed to learn from them. Yeah. They will tell us what their limiting beliefs are in life, and they press that onto us. And if you start, like one of my big things is like observing yourself and understanding your own patterns, because like you'll see that like there's people out there who are like, I can't be seen. Well, like who told you that? If you start analyzing, where did this idea come from? They're not necessarily your thoughts. They're not you who's saying, I can't do this. I can't. It's somebody else told you that at some point. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily mean it's real. And when you start challenging that, like if you are somebody who's like, oh, I am stuck at home, I'm not doing these things, but I want to, it's like, well, why don't you start asking, like, why do I even have this belief in the first place? Because oftentimes our beliefs are told to us at very young formative ages, and they're just there.
Yeah,
we don't know any different.
I think that what I've seen a lot, and you probably too, is that a lot of the beliefs that we have are because we hear other people that we grew up with, like a parent, an aunt, or whatever, talking about someone else, being like, oh, well, she, whatever. So you're like, well, I don't want to be like that. I don't want them to talk about me. So I'm not going to do that thing, right? Yeah. Like, oh, well, she went back to work right after having an infant. Can you imagine putting an infant in daycare? Like, oh, that's so awful. So then in your brain, you're like, daycare's bad. Put my child, like I don't want them to be, like you hear other people, the way that you talk about other people is influencing your children. Like it's influencing the people around you, because they're like, well, if that's what she beliees, so
yeah, that criticism
you carry that for sure, right? Like a lot of the women that I work with who have like body dysmorphia, stuff like that, it's always because someone made an offhand comment about someone else in the family, and now they think, I don't want anyone to see me like that, and that's how they must feel about me, or that's how they see other people, so I don't want to be like that. And it is so deeply rooted, and those are the things that I'm like, you got to deal with that before you even begin trying to change your body.
That's part of that process. It's like, how do you get there, right? Yeah. And it's like asking questions and like self-observation of like, is this really my belief? And I think that's a fair thing to ask, because like we never ask that question. Like who's challenging their beliefs on a daily basis? Yeah. But when you start challenging them, you're going to start to be able to be like, oh, that is my belief, or that is not. And or that comes from my mother.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you can figure out where it comes from and name it, then you can be like, wait a minute.
Start the process of working through it.
Yeah.
And then there's like different fears that we all, people have different ones. And some of it is that fear of being seen. But people are like, there's people out there who have fear of success, fear of failure. And these are things that like stop them. And it's like when we can start to identify the fears also, it's like when you can call it by name, you can work through it. And I think a lot of us have been like, okay, we're going to get stuck in this like pattern that we have going on and just not escape it. But when we start like pausing, and I think it's easy to do with people, it's like, because you can see it in other people, like, oh, that person has that issue, me too, or like, oh, they're struggling through that, oh, I've struggled through that, and you can see yourself in it. I think it helps with the healing. That's why I think women need to heal together collectively. You can't really heal in isolation. It's very hard to do any of this work. But when you're with
Being in your own brain doesn't work.
It just doesn't. Well, who's gonna mirror things to you? You know, and like it's very easy to lie to ourselves.
Yeah.
And so if you really are wanting a bigger life, like you need to be around people who also want that, and they can like tell their stories. You can be like, in this part of your story, I saw myself. That's where I'm at right now, and then you can start to work through that. And I think it makes a huge difference.
I think you're talking about like success and how you see success and kind of rewriting what is success. I feel like that for me was a big thing because my biggest fear, like starting out, I didn't have any goals. It was just like a side hustle to make some extra money because I felt like I needed to contribute. Like that was my, like, I want to contribute to the family. So I want to do something. So it was like a side hustle. And then I fell in love with it and then worked towards, where I am now. But my biggest fear before getting surrounded by amazing women was that I should be further along than I already am, right? Like I just had this little side hustle and like, it's no big deal. I only have, 10 clients, but like this person I know has like 50 clients. So like I've got to get there and that's success. And then I would look at it and then finally I got around women and I was like, this is what I'm thinking. And they're like, yeah, but they don't have kids or they don't, they're 30 years old and they, this is what they've done their whole life. Like you didn't start there. Like they started, like it was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I always had that fear of like, I should be here or I should be here because I've been doing this for this long. This is where I should be and I'm not. So basically I'm failing. And
You're
then
shooting all over yourself.
Yes,
You should
exactly.
stop that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how you're just like, you should just stop.
You should just stop.
You should just be done with
Noted.
that.
Why didn't I think of that? This is why you need
It's really
women.
easy.
Yeah,
See,
that's
it's
just
that
silly.
simple.
Brilliant. You're so brilliant.
Don't shoot all over yourself.
It is common to compare.
It is.
Especially
It's
online.
hard.
I mean,
Comparison's a thief of joy.
it is. And
Yeah.
also with like social
So
media,
hard.
like they
Oh,
always
so
showcase.
hard.
And in business especially, they showcase like the youngest people.
Yeah.
Like look at this 13-year-old out here having a $2 billion business. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
How this happened?
But even with my business, like I showcase all the good, my client success stories, the best parts of it, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm not showcasing like the client that's struggling or having compliance struggles, whatever it might be, not, struggling with the results that they want or, the ones that I'm having to like really dig deep and help, because
Right.
I mean, that's the way of
It is.
the way of the world.
Out there,
It's
but
the
it
way
goes
of
back to like also like more people you can see. Like I think of like starting businesses. A lot of people don't want to start later in life.
Yeah.
And they're like, which is like anything over 30.
Yeah.
And they're like so scared to go after or start a new hobby after 30 and all these things. And you're just like really successful. Like people are coming to their prime in their 40s and 50s. Like it is.
Well, we
not
know what
too
we
late.
want now.
I feel better
Yeah.
at almost 41 than I did at 21, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
20s are hard.
Yeah,
20s are so
stupid.
like, what is this world? You know?
I'll take 41-year-old Tabitha any day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like and so like as
I'm a
you,
baddie now.
Yeah, you are.
Do you know what I mean? Know
Yeah.
who I am. Got rid of those limiting beliefs.
Yeah, and so now you're able, like, imagine if you went back to school, or you did initially right out of school and tried starting this when you were 21, right?
Train wreck.
We'd have to go back through and delete like half of the episodes of like,
Oh my
actually, we don't even
gosh.
believe that anymore.
Yeah, it just would feel very different, and like as we evolve, we
Yeah.
develop new skills. So like,
Yeah.
right now is probably the best time for most people. Of
Yeah.
like whatever you're thinking of creating, like now's a great time to start it.
Yeah.
You
I
have the most skills you've ever had.
I think we go into things
Experiences.
now looking at it as I'm going into this as a learning experience. What can I get from this for myself? How can I use these experiences, to grow and age well versus like I'm going into this because I want to be something, right? So like reading a book, I usually pick a book based off of like, what do I want to gain from this? Or is this just for fun? Like you can separate that now of like, not everything has to be this like big giant goal out there. It's like, this can be just a little step into what I want to achieve now, right? Like it's not, massive, all over the place. Like, gosh, I had so many things that when I was like 21, 30, you know, like I was like, I'm going to do all the things. And
and then it feels like,
work out.
well, also feels like failure if you don't go really big.
Yeah.
And
but
it's
now
like,
it's just like,
small steps get you a lot.
Yeah.
Consistency gets you so much further than like one big action.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that was something I struggled when I first launched out like completely on my own with nutrition and fitness, was feeling like, okay, I need to have 20,000 followers within the next 6 months, or am I even, you know, in this space?
Yeah.
Like, what am I even doing?
Yeah.
You know, and then
I
like,
haven't posted on social
have
media.
have I had $100,000 month yet? You know, like,
It's like crazy.
all of a sudden my algorithm was like nothing but like nutrition and fitness influencers that are like, get your first 100K month, your first 10K month. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, I also
Who
have
is doing this?
It's in every field, by the way, because our field,
Oh,
I have people
really?
like, I'll tell you about like my
The
how I
$1
make $10 million
million
a year. But here's what's crazy. Okay, so here's what people don't realize: they're not making it as being chiropractors in a clinic. They are making it as being coaches and influencers.
Yeah.
That's how they're having a
100%.
$10 million year, and then
Yeah.
you're buying to learn that.
Yeah.
And so like but that's the side they're not seeing
Yeah.
is like how I made this like my first $1 million month. How you made that is not through having a clinic.
No, it's through
it's
buying
so true.
bots and
It's
boosting
you're
your
doing it. It's not
true.
very, otherwise, but they're just not being fully. It's not transparent on like.
And if I get one more online business coach sliding into my DMs asking me,
Hey, girl.
how long have I been in this space?
Oh my god, yes.
What's your client like turnover every month?
Or I like also when they're just like talking about, have you started doing this for ads yet? And then they're
Oh
selling you
my
on ads, and
gosh.
I'm like, I don't want to do
Yeah.
this right now. Please stop talking to me.
Yeah.
But then I realized just small, consistent efforts every day, living,
Yeah.
creating a business that worked for me in my life versus
molding it
what
to like
I
what you
thought.
want to do.
Well, you also have a capacity of how many. Everybody has a capacity of how many clients you can serve,
So
right?
true.
So if you have like 700 followers, but you have like half of those are paying attention to you, that is going to be very different than if you have like 10,000 followers and they're not paying attention to you.
Absolutely.
So it really is more like the quality of
Yeah.
who's following you and who's signing up for your services than it really is at all about like
Absolutely.
what it looks like online. Because I know people who are like in our field who they just like kill it online. They have millions of followers. Everybody loves them. They are not making money in clinic and are not very good clinicians. And there are people who cross both, but like it's not, I promise you, it's not when you see behind the scenes, it's not what it looks
Yeah.
like.
I think that's why defining success by yourself, for yourself,
Yes, absolutely.
is so important. So going into any situation, starting a new business, going back to school, all of those, like, what does success mean to you? And like, I think
Write your
we're
own
all
rules.
very similar,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to work with people, get to know them, make them feel seen and heard and loved and supported in their realm. And I can only do that on a small scale. Like, I don't
Absolutely.
have the capacity to do that for 100 people right now. Like,
Yeah.
I want to make sure the clients that I have, I'm cultivating relationships with, make sure that I can say, hey guys, if you need to skip a day because you have sports, that's fine. But also be, gracious to me when I say like, oh, I have to do this. So like, we're very good at texting, being like, hey, can we move this session to whatever? If I had 100 clients, I couldn't move anyone around. Like, that's important to me, that I can help people meet them where they are. And then I can say like, hey, I'm going on vacation because Brandon has to travel. So I'm just going to go to wherever with him and then, do this on your, like, I have to have that balance versus like hundreds of people and social media. Like, it's not, that
Yeah.
would
It's
work
a
for me in
different
this
level
life.
to have to manage that
Yeah.
that size of something. And I think people don't always see
Yeah.
what that lifestyle looks like.
Yeah.
I also think it's like depending on where you're at starting, like comparing to people who are like much further along, like you mentioned before. I actually like reading biographies a lot because then you like see where people
Yes.
actually struggled and you're like, oh my gosh, they went through this too.
Yeah. I'm not alone. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, because it's very easy to feel alone when you're like, is anyone else having this? Because nobody's
Is
talking
anybody
about
else
the
new
issues.
and starting out and dealing with imposter
or like
syndrome
certain issues
and
you might notice come up with clients.
Yeah.
Nobody in school taught you certain like
Right,
things that you're going to have
absolutely.
people
It's so
say to you.
true.
You're like, what? There's things I heard. I was like, I had no idea people
Wait a
were taught
second, let
this.
me go reference my nutrition and or clinical nutrition and human systems book because I
Yeah.
remember this coming up.
Yeah, they're not. It's like seeing where other people
Yeah.
are at,
Yeah.
or like finding mentors that are doing what you want but are further along, so they can be like, that's normal.
Yeah.
During this path are all really important.
Well, speaking of that, of reading biographies, I also love reading biographies. And the Phil Knight, Shoe Dog, founder,
yeah,
creator
yeah, I read
of
that.
Nike.
Yeah.
I mean, he started out out selling tiger shoes from Japan out of his parents' basement and the trunk of his car for years.
Crazy.
You know what I mean? And look at him now, but like you wouldn't know if you you know the sacrifices he's made.
I like both because you can see that, and I love the stories where people actually were like, I worked hard, I made connections, I did this, and then you also have people like with Amazon, like they got like $100,000+ loan from their parents. You're not, you know, like if you don't have that, they already are a little bit ahead. You know, when you're starting something out, like some people also got a lot more help than you might have realized too, and that's okay because you need to recognize that that you're not. There's nothing wrong with you. They might have just had a little bit of a leg up.
They had some privilege that you didn't have, and that's okay. That's the world we live in.
It is okay. It's just like I think when we read these stories, they're like he was doing this, like, oh yeah, I can be there too and get to this higher place, and also okay, I might have to do a few extra steps because you know
I don't have that can give me $100,000
and that's
loan.
All okay, by the way. It's just a matter of like seeing. I think the more you can like see what's possible and how people do things, the more you're like, oh, I can also do it because these people that are idolized are really honestly just humans, and they're not better than you in any capacity.
Or they grew up in the industry and have connections and like the music industry. I'm like, that's because they knew every recording studio. You know, like,
Well, they talk about like Bill Gates had like access to computers at a time no one else did growing up because of like what his parents did. I don't know the whole story. I listened to it a while ago, but it's like interesting. You like don't realize like okay, the reason he is like so great at this is because his exposure was really early on. So if you know are having these goals, like obviously you need exposure, but also it's okay to recognize like it's a different path.
Yeah, we're in small town Delaware, not Nashville, Tennessee.
That doesn't mean you can't be successful. It's just a matter of like recognizing where you're at and then where you need to go and setting goals appropriately and then working consistently towards it.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Megan Epps. This has been such a great conversation.
I'm excited for women to hear this.
So check out if you're local, Dover Healthcare Center. I will say I got to give you like a shout out. I love chiropractic care, have for years and years and years, is a big part of my own like wellness journey. And I just assumed that like chiropractic care was chiropractic care, right? Like 6 in one, half dozen in the other.
Doesn't matter where you go. They're just gonna snap.
I got to a point with my chiropractic care where like I just felt like it was just like so cookie cutter, and there was like nothing, you know. And I was like, And then I had the great fortune of like meeting Dr. Epps through a women's group that was started by you, right?
With Jessica.
That was But weren't you the driver behind that?
I was a part of it, but not the full driver. Okay. There was a lot of moving pieces behind that.
Fortuitous, you know,
it's how we all got
my
connected.
Life. That was how we all got connected. Through a women's group, couple years ago now, and met her, started learning more about her and your husband, Dr. Chi, who practices with her at Dover Healthcare Center. And anyways, long story short, ended up going to you guys because I felt like I had some good conversations with you about, and then some things that my health issues my daughter was dealing with her endometriosis, and went to them for chiropractic care. And like, no, chiropractic care is not just chiropractic care, blanket across the you know, that field. Like,
it is so much diversity.
And there's so much diversity. And
when you checked Jackson's spine and we saw his like synthetic, parasympathetic out of the box, and then Finley's perfectly center, and you explained it, I was like, that's why she sits there and she's just like, and he's like all over the place.
Anyways, so if you are local and looking for like actual life-changing care and, you know, quality chiropractic care, highly recommend Dr. Epps and Dr. Chi.
That's like the nicest thing. And I appreciate that.
I really want to join one of your Thursday groups that you do.
I want to join you in May next year for the Grand Canyon.
Yes. You should. You'll love it. It's going to be so much fun.
So your Thursday groups, you guys do like a Zoom call.
We do a Zoom call at the end.
You cook something together.
Yeah, we do have a little recipe
so fun.
because food's important.
That's so fun.
And then we do, I just love cooking, so that's my creative outlet is like creating recipes. And then we meet at the last Thursday of every month. So we have one coming up in April where it's just a free Zoom, but we just hop on and talk about these topics that we talked about here. So we've talked about anything from like the environment and how that impacts us to defining your own success. And it's all like really just cool women.
And they can find you on social media.
So you can go to social media, or you just do innatewomen.com. All the information is there.
If you do look up the podcast, it's at the table Innate Women. Don't just look up Innate Women because that's a different podcast.
Yeah, there's like a supplement company.
That name.
Okay. Do not confuse them. No supplements.
It's been awesome talking to you.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been so much fun.
Thanks for spending your time with us. If you found this podcast helpful, we would love for you to share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe on your podcast platform. If you have nutrition or fitness questions you want answered on future episodes, we would love to hear from you. You can submit these questions to our email, thenutritionrevolutionpodcast@gmail.com, and follow us on Instagram at the Nutrition Revolution Podcast.